film as I sees it. Clearviewing at Mount Rushmore. Hey everybody, up next at this first Sunday's open mic is the Mickey Mouse Club's favorite Mouseketeer and every boy's ageless childhood sweetheart, Mrs. Annette Funicello. Give her a big hand.
Thanks for that warm welcome, fellow veganeers. First, I'd like to point out that what we all call a zoo contains a variety of non-human animals gathered in one place for the so-called education and unnecessary entertainment of us human animal visitors. However, from the animal's point of view, it is a life sentence in prison. Nothing less and much, much more. Although recent attempts have been made to make the prisons more homey, it is still a prison. Animals with natural habitat measured in miles are now confined to a habitat measured in feet. Most animals in prison soon become insane, deprived of their natural surroundings, including contact with their families. They become psychotic. Pacing, pulling out hair, repetitive motion, and aggression are all evidence of their pitiful mental state. My time at this open mic is too short to go into the myriad, countless other reasons that keeping animals captive and on public display is evil. But I hope I have enough time to announce in its simplest terms that under what I call the 2020 plan, this horrible cruelty to animals will all end by the year 2020. I happen to know that Disney World Enterprises is in the process of taking its own live animals off display. I also know that Disney Research and World Development has almost developed animal robotics as lifelike as the real thing. Therefore, all so-called zoos are urged to close their exhibits of live animals and continue to care for privately the animals that cannot be returned to the wild. As they gradually do this over the course of the years before 2020, Disney will make their robotic animals available for free to educate their zoo visitors. But only will they do this if these animal prisons begin preparing immediately to remove their live animal inmates from public display. If any zoos insist on keeping live animals on display, Disney will, if necessary, liquidate all its assets to raise the money to make leveraged buyouts of any such non-compliant animal prisons and shut them down until the living imprisoned animals can be replaced with robotics.
That's a grand plan indeed, Annette. But I can hardly believe Disney has suddenly become so totally altruistic to do such a historic thing.
Well, Ed, to tell you the truth, Disney has not yet totally agreed to do so. But I hereby publicly challenge them to do so, and also publicly challenge all other companies in related industries to move towards a 2020 completion of the plan I have just outlined.
And I, speaking on behalf of my grandfather Ed Sullivan, hereby publicly second your motion to complete this plan by 2020. I also move that from this day on we call this plan the Funicello 2020 Challenge. However, on a more mundane note, Annette, You need to ease up on your work schedule for this project a bit. I think it has already affected your voice. Your voice sounds a bit Mickey Mouse, if you'll pardon the pun.
That's not a pun, Ed. It's two-thirds of a pun. P-U. But I'm glad you noticed my apparently changed voice. I intentionally asked the technicians not to waste their time developing the technology to duplicate my actual voice.
Technicians? What technicians?
The technicians that built me. You see, everybody, I am not the real Annette. I am her robotic clone, a machine, and my weird-sounding voice proves it. But since non-human animals don't have voices as we human animals know it, there is no need to develop the technology to duplicate a human voice. My real self, to my right here, has a broken microphone on her big wheel number 8, so I speak for us both. See y'all later, Mouseketeers.
Wow, what a wonderful thing. The Funicello 2020 Challenge. Much to think about. May goodness bless Annette always. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with extreme pleasure that I welcome our next open micer, the Earth's favorite son and truly a man for all seasons, the sometimes inconvenient but always truthful Al Gore.
Thank you, Ed, for that glowing intro, but I'm afraid I'll be saying only a few words today. Instead, to speak for me, I brought a film clip, which will say what I feel better than I could have ever said it myself. This film clip that I'm about to show, produced by an unknown artist, actually had the audacity to correct me, a national spokesperson. At first, I was a bit hot under the collar, but after some deep soul searching, I realized the truth of the matter. And that truth, though presented in a bit unorthodox but totally creative manner, is what I offer here today for all the world to see someday, I hope. You'll notice it's a bit scratched and worn from just me showing it to everyone I know. Roll it, Annette. That's the robot Annette I'm, of course, talking to.
Oops, I guess it's already later, and here I am.
Oh, shit.
Just as I thought I was finally finishing up with this video, there's actually only one more minute past this point to watch. I heard about Al Gore's timely and courageous film called Inconvenient Truth. I just had to check and see if Mr. Gore had covered everything and said everything regarding the impact of human recklessness and self-centeredness on Earth and its life forms. If Gore had indeed covered it all, there would be no reason for me to finish this video. Alas, there is a reason for me to finish it.
Climate crisis is the most serious challenge we've ever faced. It has the potential to end human civilization.
Gore says that we need to stop global warming so that human civilization can continue to survive. I say we need to do it, and we need to pursue many other non-global warming issues. Not so our civilization can survive, but so that all life on Earth, whether it includes our so-called civilization or not, can continue to survive in a fashion comparable to that way in which that life had been for millions of years before we began our relatively swift and recent devastation of nature. We need to stop thinking selfishly of only what is important for humans. We need to stop committing crimes against nature, not because we will be punished by having to live in a greenhouse, but because it is morally wrong to inflict this agony on Earth's non-human creatures. We need to re-educate ourselves and our children that the world does not revolve around us humans. We need to educate them that humans are no more important than any other creature on Earth. We may, yes, come up with some super tech band-aids for the super wounds we have so far inflicted on the Earth. But I say it is far more important that we change the anthropocentric, human-centered mindset which worships humans above all else. The malignant mindset that allowed us to render the horrid damage in the first place. And the mindset which, if left unchecked, will allow us to inflict fatal wounds. I do finally close with the bottom line question, which judges the worth of both our individual and our collective existence. Is the Earth better off for us having lived on it? I'll see you later.
I can only repeat and amend the artist's words. See you all later, my fellow human animals.
Thank you, Al, and thank you, Richard, Sparky, and Pip Krause for making the awesome film Hotel Originaldo. So that's it for this first Sunday's open mic. Hope to see you all next Sunday, and don't forget, before you head home, to visit the free vegan buffet out back, inside Bush's abandoned Beerhead Bar, Park, and Grill. That's a wrap from here at Mount Rushmore.
YouTube currently limits any single video file to 15 minutes in length. As a result, for display on YouTube, this video has been divided into more than one part. Thank you.